the spark of true wealth. Your dreams don't wait for you. You ignite them. Beneath a twilight sky streaked with crimson, a young artist named Cale sat in a dimly lit bookstore, its shelves heavy with stories and secrets. His sketchbook lay open, pages cluttered with half-drawn visions and notes scratched in restless ink. His eyes, shadowed with doubt, flickered with a hunger for something more, a life beyond the grind of chasing success that always seemed to slip through his fingers. Across from him sat an older woman named Vera, a retired architect whose quiet strength filled the room like the glow of a lantern. Her hands, weathered by years of crafting structures and lives, moved with purpose as she sipped her tea. This is the tale of a conversation that lit a spark, one that could set your own path ablaze. Stay until the end, for its wisdom might redefine how you chase your future. With every vivid word, you'll hone your English while kindling your purpose. Grab a pen, feel the heat, and if this stirs your soul, subscribe and share it with someone ready to ignite their own journey. Cale's voice broke the stillness, raw with frustration. I've studied every guide, followed every influencer, pour my heart into my art, he said. But success feels like a horizon I can never reach. Why do I keep falling short? Vera's eyes met his, warm yet piercing, as if seeing through his doubts to the fire beneath. You're chasing a flame you can't catch, she said, her voice steady as stone. Most people run after wealth like it's a prize to snatch. But true wealth isn't chased, it's kindled, built from within with care and clarity. Cale leaned closer, his sketchbook forgotten, as Vera began. There are 5 sparks, she said, 5 truths that light the path to lasting success. Not fleeting winds, but a life that glows with meaning and abundance. Spark 1. Kindle value to ignite wealth. Vera's first truth was like a flint striking steel. Wealth doesn't come from craving. It comes from creating. The world, she explained, doesn't reward those who take, but those who give something irreplaceable. Ask not what you can gain, but what you can offer, she said. How can you ease a burden? Solve a puzzle? Light someone's way? That's where wealth begins. She told of a weaver she once knew, a man with nothing but a loom and a gift for crafting tapestries that told stories. He wove for his village, not for gold, but to share beauty. Soon, his work drew travelers from distant lands, and his small stall became a legacy. Wealth, Vera said, is the echo of the value you've sparked in others' lives. Cale's pencil paused over his sketchbook. He'd been so focused on selling his art, he'd forgotten why he drew, to share the stories in his heart. This was his first spark. Value lights the way to wealth. Spark 2. Discipline fuels the flame. Vera's voice grew firmer. The second spark is discipline, the fire that outlasts fleeting passion. She likened motivation to a match, bright but brief. Discipline, she said, is the steady hearth that burns through doubt and fatigue. Successful people don't wait to feel ready, she told Cale. They act, even when the embers feel cold. They build habits, not hopes. She shared how she once designed a bridge that took years to complete. There were days she wanted to quit when sketches failed and storms delayed progress. But she showed up, redrew plans, and kept building. That bridge now stood as a symbol of her resolve. Motivation starts the fire, she said, but discipline keeps it burning. Cale thought of his own half-finished canvases, abandoned when inspiration faded. He realized success wasn't about feeling inspired. It was about showing up every single day. Spark 3. Knowledge fans the flame. The third spark, Vera said, was learning. Wealth grows in the mind before it reaches your hands. She warned that chasing money without wisdom is like building a house on sand. It collapses under pressure. The truly successful invest in knowledge first, she said. It's the spark that multiplies every other effort. Vera recounted a time she nearly lost her career to a flawed design. She hadn't studied enough about new materials, and her project crumbled. It was humbling, but she rebuilt by learning, reading, asking, experimenting. That knowledge turned her next designs into landmarks. Grow your mind, she told Cale, and wealth will find you. Chase money without learning. and you'll lose everything. Cale scribbled this down, struck by the idea that his art could grow not by rushing to sell, but by mastering his craft. Spark 4. Patience lets the fire build. Vera's voice softened, her eyes distant. The fourth spark is patience. Wealth glows slowly, like embers becoming a blaze. She explained that impatience snuffs out progress, as people quit when results don't come fast. Every great fire starts small, she said. A spark, a flicker, a glow. Success works the same. It's invisible at first, but it's there, growing in the quiet. She told of a gardener she knew, who planted seeds that took years to bloom. Neighbors mocked his empty soil, but he tended it daily. When his garden finally burst into color, it drew visitors from afar, and his work became a haven. When nothing seems to happen, Vera said, that's when the fire is building. Cale thought of his own impatience, abandoning projects when galleries didn't call back. He saw now that his efforts were seeds, needing time to root. Spark 5. Mindset is the forge. The final spark, Vera said, was the one that held them all. Your mindset is the forge where your life takes shape. She leaned forward, her voice low and urgent. Your thoughts aren't just ideas. They're the heat that molds your reality. Believe you're stuck, and you'll stay stuck. Believe you're growing, and you'll find a way. Vera shared how she once doubted her own talent, nearly abandoning her career after a failure. But she began feeding her mind with possibility, reading stories of resilience, surrounding herself with builders, not doubters. That shift turned her failures into stepping stones. Your mindset, she said, is the spark that lights or snuffs out every other effort. Guard it like a sacred flame. Cale sat back, his tea cold, the bookstore now cloaked in evening's hush. The city outside hummed, but inside, a quiet clarity settled over him. He repeated Vera's sparks. Value, discipline, knowledge, patience, mindset. They weren't just rules for wealth. They were a blueprint for a life of purpose. Vera rose, leaving a folded note on the table. Wealth isn't what you hold, she said, her eyes locking with his. It's what you become. Build your character, and the rest will follow. She stepped into the night, the bookstore door chiming softly behind her. Cale opened the note. It read, Your spark is already lit. Fan it. He stared at it, then out at the city, its lights now twinkling like stars. The same streets that once felt like a maze now pulsed with potential. He closed his sketchbook, not with defeat, but with resolve. The world hadn't changed, but his lens had. From that night, Cale lived differently. He poured his heart into his art, not for sales, but to touch lives. He sketched daily, even when uninspired. He studied new techniques, not for quick wins, but to deepen his craft. He stopped chasing instant fame and embraced the slow burn of growth. And he guarded his thoughts, choosing possibility over doubt. Months later, his work began to shine. Galleries noticed, clients called, but more than that, Cale felt alive. Not because he was rich, but because he was whole. Challenges that once broke him now sharpened him. Failures that once stung now taught him. One evening, under a sky ablaze with stars, Cale walked home, his sketchbook tucked under his arm. He smiled, not because life was perfect, but because he knew the sparks to keep it burning. True wealth, he realized, isn't a number. It's a fire you kindle within. Light it with value, fuel it with discipline, fan it with knowledge, tend it with patience, and forge it with mindset. If this story sparked something in you, subscribe and stay with us. Your dreams aren't distant. They're waiting for you to ignite them. Keep kindling, keep growing, keep forging your wealth from the inside out.